Indiana Republicans have just rejected Donald Trump's request to redraw their congressional maps in an attempt to gain 2 more congressional seats. If you haven't been following the story in Indiana, Donald Trump, with many other Republican-led states, have been ordered to redraw their congressional maps by the president because Trump knows that if the 2026 midterms were to happen today, Democrats would mop the floor. That's a fact. Indiana was one of those states. And here, right now, the state of Indiana has 2 congressional Democratic representatives in Indianapolis and up here in East Chicago. While this isn't necessarily a completely fair map, it isn't inherently gerrymandered. This proposed map takes Indianapolis, spreads it out into 8 different districts, and spreads out pretty much all the Democratic areas into rural places in an attempt to remove all Democratic congressional representation from the state. But this passed the Indiana State House and then passed the Senate committee unanimously, but on the final Senate floor vote, it failed 33-17, with 23 Republicans voting against the bill. Now, I just watched this live happen only a few minutes ago, and honestly, I was shocked at the amount of Republicans who voted against this bill. 23. Yes, this is not only important because it means that Indiana won't redistrict, but it also means that the president is beginning to lose control of his Republican Party, and he can no longer say, do this, and they will do it without question. We're seeing more and more states come out against him and against his redistricting that has really begun to backfire on the president. What we've seen with mid-cycle redistricting, it all started with Texas. Donald Trump went to Texas and said, you're going to redraw your congressional maps to gain 5 more Republican seats. They did it after a lot of Democratic fighting, but they redrew their maps. Gavin Newsom in California came out and said, you know what, we're not going to let you do that. He passed a ballot proposition, and California's new congressional maps have 5 new Democratic seats. Utah court, the Utah map was gerrymandered to eliminate Democratic representation in Salt Lake City. They mandated 1 Democratic district, so now Utah has gained 1 Democratic representative. Will gain a Democratic representative because Republicans likely will not win there. Missouri, Republicans redrew the map to get rid of Kansas City. They split it into 2 separate districts. North Carolina, they gerrymandered their map even more to get rid of Don Davis's district in the Northeast. Ohio, the map that they were using was ruled unconstitutional by the Ohio Supreme Court, so they had to redraw it for 2026, and while it does get rid of 1 or 2 Democratic seats here up in Toledo with Marcy Kaptur and in Cincinnati with Greg Landman, I think Greg Landman can keep his seat. Marcy Kaptur may be a little more iffy, but the point is 1 or 2 Republican seats gained there. Virginia says they're going to redistrict. Maryland might redistrict. There's a lot of other states talked about. Oregon, Wisconsin has a court hearing, New York, New Jersey. But Indiana was one of the states that Donald Trump went to and said, you are going to redraw your maps. And what did they just do? Indiana said no. A redistricting in Indiana wouldn't have necessarily helped Republicans per se. So this is my model here with Democrats having an 87% chance of winning the House. Made a video about that up here if you want to see it. But 2 more Republican seats is not going to help them. Republicans are extremely desperate to keep their House majority because they know what happened in 2018 and they know that 2026 could be just, if not worse. Thank you for watching. If you want more updates, please consider subscribing. Goodbye.